Hello, Maya TV. Welcome back. My name is Jessica Haro, and I'm here with an actor. This is Gjergi Krasniqi.
Yep.
Did I say that right?
That's perfect.
Okay.
That's perfect.
So, George, thank you so much for being here with us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me here.
So, please introduce yourself to our viewers.
So, Gjergi Krasniqi, an actor since very young age. I started in Europe and moved to Hollywood about 4 years ago. Excited to be here.
So, tell us how you got involved in acting.
So, acting started back in 2005. I was only 12, and I had the opportunity of meeting this filmmaker from Germany who came down to Kosovo to learn more about the war and the aftermath of the war of Kosovo in '99, and he wanted to do a piece, a picture on that. And so the next year, he invited me to portray a child character in the movie, which showed the audience the negative effects of the war and the difficulties that people go through after the war and all that. And then the project was a small project, low budget, but he was happy with it. His school was happy with it because he was a student of directing. So he went back to Germany, and then the next year he came again, and we did another project in which I was in a supporting role and learned a lot. And that was when I first was introduced to film. Yeah.
And then you came here to the US as an adult to study. Right?
Yes, correct. So after those two projects, I went to high school. I pursued social sciences gymnasium. I went to a social sciences gymnasium where language, theater are prominent, and I was part of the theater club. Did work on the high school play and all that. And then for college, I moved to the States where I studied American literature. And again, we had the opportunity to choose what kind of literature you want to work on. So I chose theater and poetry mainly, where we studied the playwrights of Arthur Miller, Tennessee Williams, and other great American playwrights. And in addition to that, I took acting classes at school, which helped me to become to understand better the literature, first of all, and then it's helping me now to be a better actor, a better teammate in a movie projects, where I'm able to analyze the script from the writer's perspective, understand the writer, and obviously in most cases we have to, especially with low budget films, we have to adjust the script to make it filmable, something you can shoot. But having that background, it helps me a lot, and I highly recommend to other people that aspire to become actors one day. Don't just learn how to act, also learn literature, read, analyze. And most actors do write. So if you're not writing and you're thinking of starting acting, start writing. Learn how it is to be a writer. And then that when you do become an established actor later on, you're better prepared for that.
Are there any particular playwrights or any works that you studied that have been very influential to you?
Definitely Arthur Miller's play A View from the Bridge was one that really stuck with me because one of the main characters is also an immigrant just like myself to the States, to the same country, and it just it helped me navigate the immigration loss, which is what happens in the play, and then just dealing with other things that come with immigration and starting in a new country, such as falling in love when you don't have the papers, and the family of the girl you're in love with things that you're only with her because of the green card, which is what happens on the play. So very important to me. And Tennessee Williams plays. I don't have one specifically that stuck with me, but I relate to characters that are on their own and believe in themselves and go for their dreams despite what other people think. Which most people argue that was Tennessee Williams' personal life that he portrayed through the characters. Yeah, but definitely shaped my early 20s years and at this moment as well.
So then while you're there, you're at Harvard, right?
Yes.
Studying theater. So you're studying acting from a theater perspective then?
Right. So in addition to American literature, which is traditional undergrad classroom courses, writing, lots of writing essays, lots of readings. Yeah. In addition to that, we had acting coach, Karen McDonald, which I personally like to thank for taking the time to work with the students. That it wasn't mandatory to take acting classes, but for students that were studying American literature and wanted to taste how it is to actually be those characters that we were studying. She opened the door for us in the same building. It wasn't outside school either, so that was very helpful. And I made great friends there. I learned the basic techniques. We did a lot of Shakespeare as well, which was not part of the curriculum in the university because we studied American literature and Shakespeare is British. So, but still, it helped us because most of the theater worldwide relies on Shakespeare technique and the plays. So learned a lot, definitely learned a lot. Yeah.
And then, so how does acting for theater differ from acting for film?
Way different. Two different worlds, but most people agree with me if I say that good screen actors come from theater. But it's adjusting. It's not easy, especially with a movement. Like for example, we were working on this film in Hollywood when I moved here, and we had an actress who only had done theater, and so cameraman hated her because she was moving too much, and the cameraman kept telling her, "Please move slowly, don't blink too much because it's different world. The camera picks up everything." And it was a close-up shot, so way two different worlds. But that's where you learn the technique of acting and all of the stuff. But in addition to that, if you want to transfer to screen, you have to work with camera. But nowadays we're all fortunate because we all have phones, we do self-tapes, and we work with cameras. We're all around cameras. We take pictures of ourselves, record stuff, so we know we're more adjustable to that. But it takes some time for theater actors to adjust to the whole concept of being on screen and then taking many takes of the same scene, different angles. Where in theater it's one on, one off. You start and then you don't stop until the finish. But if it helps actors that cannot memorize their lines because you can take breaks, or there are ways to go around that. As opposed to theater, if you don't know your lines, you have people that can help you, but it's still you gotta know your lines. You can't stop. It's just on and on.
So then, you were a child actor in Kosovo, come to the U.S. as an adult, and basically restarting your career.
Pretty much from scratch. Different language, obviously. Just learning everything from zero. And that's something, it happened the way it happened, but now I realize that a successful actor or up-and-coming actor or anyone that wants to start, you have to not, even if you know a few things, just assume you don't know anything. That will help you, just take it in and start from scratch, as opposed to being, I've done this, I've done that. because different directors, different actors work differently. So just because you worked on certain films, then you have to adjust to a new production, especially if you go to a TV show that's been on for many seasons. You're basically walking into a new world, an order that has already been created. Even if it's a bad system, you cannot change it because you're there for one episode or a few scenes. Or so you have to be humble. You have to be that guy that says, "Oh yeah, thanks for telling me that." Although you know that it's such information, you just let people know that you're open to learning more. It's like the student hat. Always be a student. Always wear the student hat, and that way you open more doors for yourself.
So then, when we started your career, how did you go about that?
So first was during COVID in New York during the lockdown. So living in New York, it just you get distracted. It's a big city. Yes, I told myself I'm an actor. I'm here to pursue acting and whatnot. But there are so many things that distract you, take you away from that. So you really have to be focused on that. It takes a lot of discipline. So COVID came around, lockdown, everything shut down. You couldn't do anything. So you were left alone with your dreams, thoughts, and what are you gonna do when everything goes back to normal? Because we all had hopes. That's how we survived. And then I made a promise to myself that if I make it out of that situation, I'm gonna pack my bags and move to Hollywood and pursue acting full time, which I did in the summer of 2021. And I dedicated my 24 hours to acting. I managed to get into the union, Screen Actors Guild, SAG-AFTRA, which is called, within a year. I was lucky, but I was available. I made myself available. I put myself out there, met with people. Everyone that I met, I would introduce myself as an actor. Well, what do you do? I'm an actor. Although I had, I hadn't done anything, I was just, this is who I am. What can I do for you? So that's how you end up in the right crowd of people, right parties, right gatherings, get to know, and just stay in contact. With social media now is way easier. Promote yourself and just do it.
Yeah, so getting into SAG-AFTRA so quickly is a huge accomplishment.
Thank you.
So what were you doing in that first year here?
First, so I signed up I obviously auditioned to join the agencies, the main acting agencies, but obviously never heard back from them because you want to be referred to them. They don't just take applications, no matter how good you are. And then what I did was I signed up with Central Casting, which is an agency for background actors. And many A-list actors started there because that's the best way to start. And I got to meet a lot of people, lots of young incoming actors, established actors. I got to meet some of the greatest actors, learn from them, because as a background actor, you stay in the back and you watch them do their magic, and you get paid for that. So you're not wasting your time. It's like a free acting class, free 101 on acting. And people after people, and then just one day I was offered the opportunity to be on a scene for which people that had agreed to be on, something happened to them, they couldn't make it, so me and my friend Roslyn were asked to be in that scene. And then they found out that we're not union. They said, "Oh, you can't be if you're not union." So the director decided to make us union in the spot.
Oh, okay.
So that was cool. We were lucky. That was luck, but also was dedication. That we showed up on time. We said yes, we'll do it. Although we didn't know what we were gonna do on the scene and all that stuff, but we said yes, and it happened.
So tell us about the actors that you've worked with in that time. Like, is there anyone in particular that you really enjoyed working with and that has influenced you?
Well, I've worked with many, but the one that stood out to me was George Clooney and Brad Pitt in the movie Wolves.
Oh, wow.
In the Apple TV, So you have George Clooney, who comes from theater, and you have Brad Pitt, who started as a background actor and only been in TV as opposed to theater. So I got exposed to, along with other friends, to two different acting techniques and two different professionalism. And then I obviously personally leaned with George Clooney, who was, you know, an actor who came from theater, and he was on point every time, as opposed to on the other side having someone as Brad Pitt to, you know, take his time and slack kind of. So learned a lot from that, and that stuck with me. Yeah.
Now, how is film industry different here in Hollywood versus back home in Kosovo?
In Kosovo, so I can't speak for the Kosovo whole entertainment industry or Europe, but the only opportunity I got to work with was this filmmaker from Germany, and he was obsessed with not having shadows in his scenes, right? So, and we had to shoot the same scene over and over, and it was a low budget, so our shadows, the characters on the scene, would appear at some point, but then he would go out of his way to get rid of the shadows, and he was obsessed with that. And at that time, I was like exhausted. I'm like, maybe that's the thing about film, no shadow. And then moving to America, it's obviously it's the budget, the quality of the production. Not to speak with the acting and all that stuff. The production is so, you know, they spend a lot of money, so they go about doing things differently, but they're not as obsessed with shadow like that filmmaker was. So that's the only difference I've seen. And the other thing is, in Europe, it's cheaper to shoot on a real city on the street, and more often than not, you see films where real people are walking by, and you can tell they're not actors because they're like either looking towards the camera or surprised, and people don't really mind that. They're you know, they're happy to be caught on camera in the movie, as opposed to in America, you have permits, you need permits, and if you get someone in a film without them knowing, like a pass buyer, they'll sue you or whatever. So there's a cultural difference, I guess, on that perspective that I could think of.
Is there anything that you think American filmmakers can learn from how Europe makes films?
I'm sure there is a lot to learn. So one thing I would point out is that you can do an okay job as far as spending the most portion of your budget on let's say you're shooting a scene in a room, everything to look perfect in that room. Like, it doesn't have to be. Like in Europe, European production don't really pay attention to those details, and they'll shoot the scene in a real room as opposed to in America. They'll make the room in the studio, which is it gives jobs to more people. You know, it's a bigger community. I'm okay with that, but the essence, and then these movies that spend a lot of money on the aesthetics of the scene, they don't hire the right actors, and probably the acting is not as good as the attention to details. So focus more on the quality of acting, hire the right people, I guess. Yeah.
And now you've spent some years working as an actor, and now you want to help other actors.
Absolutely. And by that, I also mean helping myself in the process. So another major thing when I moved to Hollywood was finding the right acting school, acting coach. And more often than not, I would walk into acting studios to find out that I cannot stand the acting coach. And then it was me that it would just decide that I'm never going to get along with this person. And it is just a feeling you get, and that's very important. You got to listen to that feel. If you don't get along with the acting coach, no matter how good of technique he teaches, walk away, go find another one. There are plenty of acting coaches in Hollywood that teach pretty much the same technique, and then also how well you get along with the students there. That's another important thing. So you shouldn't settle for just anybody, or you shouldn't aim for a famous acting coach in Hollywood that everybody wants to go. You find the person that speaks to you the best, the person that you get along, because we're humans, we have our favorites and people that do things differently, we don't agree, and that's very important, so you shouldn't settle for that. And at the end, you're paying for that acting class, so you're the boss, so you make that call. So what I came up with recently, came across this book. It's called Self-Analysis. It's not specifically written, it doesn't speak directly to the actor. It's basically a book on psychology, a book that helps you get to know yourself as a human, whether you're in the business industry, you're in government, or in any high performance roles. But it related to me as an actor, because in the introduction, the author talks about self-analysis. He literally says, by reading this book, you will become yourself's best friend. You will get to know yourself before you start to know other people, which is very important for actors, to develop a new character or create the character that they're asked to. And just knowing yourself with the drills that this book provides. So there are a set, we call them drills, set of questions on how to improve imagination. Like if you're struggling to relate with a certain character that you're assigned to, there are questions and ways to basically dive deeper in your imagination of your own self, so your own childhood or previous years that you lived, experience and stuff. So it helped me, and I decided to start a workshop, free workshop in Hollywood on March 19th. Anyone that is interested can reach out to me on my Instagram, Gjergi Krasniqi. I'm sure I'll get tagged to this video, or you can also I'm sure they can reach out to you, and you can redirect them. So yeah, it's a free workshop, 7 p.m. on March 19th in Hollywood. It's going to take place in a beautiful theater of a private club, which I'm a member, and free parking. There'll be coffee, water, and some sandwiches, and light treats. And all actors are welcome to join. It's not if you're just learning how to act, probably it's not going to be the best, but if you've taken classes with different acting coaches anywhere in the world, and you know the basics, you should definitely consider coming to this workshop. The first workshop is free, obviously. It's an intro to the book, and later on we can work on everything else. But highly recommend it.
And what will you be doing in this workshop?
So I will be the coach. I will be the one who basically will either assign scenes to those actors that come there. I don't want to call them students, because I'm a student of acting myself. And either I'll assign scenes to them, or they'll pick them, and then we'll do the drills from this book. And during that workshop, I will show how the whole class is going to work. I'll be the coach. And in addition to that, the club I go to have classes such as how to improve self-confidence, how to improve relationships with others, who to trust, which are very important for actors in Hollywood. To just work on self-confidence, because I know many talented actors, but they lack self-confidence, and if you don't have the self-confidence, if you don't believe in yourself, you're not going to present yourself in the 100% capacity you have, and that's very important.
Do you have any final words of advice for actors?
Just do it. Just do it. Find ways. Obviously, listen to these interviews, especially mine, and just find your own ways of doing it. Excuse me.
Thank you, George, for being with us.
Absolutely.
And thank you, viewers. Please check out his Instagram and attend his workshop and become better at acting. And the only way to really be better is to practice with other actors.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.